Working with alcohol-based markers is amazing and really fun. You can get incredible results. Anyone who's done it before knows that it hurts the wallet. Now, in the past, Copic have mainly been considered the more premium marker range, but they're also super expensive, with a 72-pack on Amazon retailing at about $500 and a 12-pack retailing at about $84. Now, I believe the answer to that lies in this. This is the Spectrum Noir Illustrator marker, better known to some on this channel as the Sneak Attack marker, which I reviewed a while back, and as part of a collaboration on a product I've released last week called JAZZA'S Jazzy Art Box, you can get my personal selection of 12 premium alcohol markers. And I'm gonna spend this video showing you how you can get the most bang for your buck out of those 12 markers. Now, remember, JAZZA'S Jazzy Art Box is a lot more than this pack of 12 markers. There's pencils, there's a sketchbook, there's a custom print, there's a huge amount of stuff, so I'm going to link to it in the description for you to go check out, and the video where I launched it if you want to know more of the details about everything that's in the box. But today I want to focus on the markers specifically, because as you can see, we have 12 beautiful markers here, but anyone at a glance would assume that they are the 12 colors, and they cannot compete with 3 packs of Copic sketch markers. I'm going to put down the gauntlet today and show you that not only can they compete, but there may be some benefits, and as far as value for money goes, you cannot beat what I am presenting you here, specifically in the JAZZA'S Jazzy Art Box 12 pack of markers, not only because of the price and the fact that you get it way cheaper because it's in my JAZZA'S Jazzy Art Box, but also because of how carefully I've refined and calculated these 12 colors to be the colors in the pack. So let's get started. I've prepared a little gauntlet of activities here, little practical exercises that I can quickly go through to show you how these can be used to full effect. The first is what I call darkening and lightening. So let's start off with the darkening. I'm going to, in these 2 squares, just pop down a red in both. But now with the square on the right, I'm going to show you how you can make it a much darker, deeper red. And that is by blending. So I'm just going to grab my dark gray. This is the Ice Gray 9. Slap this on top of the red that I've put down. And you can do this with any of the other grays. There are 3 gray tones included in the 12 pack. But the point of this is, though I may have gone too far here by using the red again, this is going to sort of pull it back. It's going to add more saturation, and so it'll make it a more of a deeper red, and it'll also slightly bring the tone back to more of a middle tone rather than the really dark gray tone that we've put on top. Now, people fall into the trap of feeling like they have to buy every colored marker under the sun because they feel like they can't get those colors without just buying the markers. Now, the real reason you want to do that is because it's nice to have all the colors and not have to mix to get them, but in reality, you can just mix and get the colors you want. Alcohol markers are less like textures or markers and more like watercolors. You really can just, like, let's say with this, if I want it to be more red, just mix in more red. And like watercolors, if I want it to be weaker, all I have to do is dilute it. Which brings me to the next exercise. I'm gonna get my blue and do exactly the same thing here. Diluting the color with alcohol markers means using, well, alcohol. But not just your granddad's alcohol, marker alcohol. It's different. Trust me, I know from experience. I shouldn't say that. So I've included in my 12 pack a blender, which is a bit confusing to a lot of people who are unfamiliar with these alcohol-based markers, but this is a huge deal. This makes a lot of things possible, including desaturating and lightening colors. So like I mentioned, to make something lighter or weaker in watercolors, you weaken it with water. Well, this is the same, but just with alcohol and without any pigment in it. So as you can see, the more I mix in this colorless blender, the more it pulls that color and tone away from the marker that I've put down. Now, there is only one blue marker in this whole pack, and blue is a primary color. So if you want a light blue, let's say for like a light blue business shirt, you might think you're up the creek. But in reality, all you need to do is slap in a lot of this colorless blender, and just like that, you've lightened it. So put into practice, you can get shading effects, and let's say I want to create a purple. I can just use my purple marker to put it on the base, but if I want to go light to dark, I can do a couple of things. Using my colorless blender, I can lighten up the top here just to pull a little bit of that tone and saturation away. Very quickly, you can see that lightening. And then to go really dark, I can mix in more of this purple tone, which is going to add more saturation. Then it's going to come to a point where I can't make it any darker, which is where mixing other colors comes in. Specifically, blue and red make purple, and these mixed together are going to be much darker in tone than the standalone purple. So I'm just going to slap a little bit of red down the bottom, a little bit of blue down the bottom, and then I go back to my mid purple, blend that area in the middle, and just like that, we have a very drastic gradient between a really light purple and a near black dark purple. And guess what? I can do that with other colors too. So there you go, that darkening and lightening in practice allows you to get those awesome gradients. Let's say you want black. Now you could use a Sharpie, you could use a texture or some ink or something, but let's say your piece wants to gradient to a black, or you want something that can blend. Here's what to do. Take the darkest gray, put it in there nice and heavy, so really dark, but as you can see, even if I just put this down and down and down and down and down, it's gonna become a really dark gray, but it's not gonna be black. But if you take your blue and red and put those in there too, that creates a bit of a purple. And if you want a black that has a bit more of a brown looking base, then you can add green as well. And then last but not least, we go back to our dark gray charcoal marker. This is going to desaturate it a little bit, blend all of those tones together so it doesn't look like a color, and just like that. Look at that, we have like a solid black, minus that tiny bit of red where I went over the line. Am I getting the point across yet? No? Well, let's keep going. I'm going to create a gradient between colors. Let's go with like a light green in the center and go with a blue and purple edge. And then I'm going to add a lighting effect. So I've slapped down our base, then we get our blue, which is going to be further out towards the edges. And then to blend between these, we just go back to our green and heavily saturate that area between the two colors. And when I say heavily saturate, sometimes working with alcohol markers, you really do just blend and blend and blend and blend. But the outcome is that they mix because they just can't help but make sweet, sweet juice with each other. Oh, that got weird. So there we go, we have a nice gradient towards that blue on the outside, and we can add some extremity to that, maybe grab a purple, build up that difference in tone around the edge. And we're looking a little bit weak in here, but I know if I add the green, it's gonna sort of look a little dark or oversaturated. I can still do that and then come back and soften it with my colorless blender. So that means we still have lots of ink, which is going to soften it and smooth it out so we don't have the streaks of the pen. Then we keep the nice gradient. So I referred to some cool effects before. Well, let's say you want to create a really cool rim light. Well, I've left that white edge, but I can be even more intense here and use my colorless blender just to really soften and weaken the intensity of the edge. I'm just pushing this colorless blender. This is actually a firm nib, and I'm really just digging in there, and it's going to soften that edge and push the tone and the colors back. When I do this sort of thing, I alternate between the brush tip and the hard tip, because that essentially enables me to push with the harder tip. That's a lovely sound. And then apply a lot of the fluid with the brush tip because it tends to be a little juicier. What is it with me and juice? Jeez! Now you can see I've done this in this light area where I've already left it white, but what if you actually have already filled in an edge and you want to make that lighter or add some lighting effect? Fear not, you can still do that. Just do exactly the same thing. It won't end up as light as if you had have left it without the ink, of course, but you'd be surprised how much you can push back ink with the colorless blender. And look at that. That was a hard, dark edge before. It was totally filled in. We've pushed it back. We've got a little bit of a rim lighting around the whole object. I'm just going to take my yellow marker, use the hard thin tip, and just go around the very edge of the lightest area. And this is going to look like a little bit of a glow effect. And just look at that. How cool does that look? The mix of tones, the intensity, and the contrast. One of the things I most often use these sort of markers for is for character designs, and you'll notice that there are essentially two markers that are clearly sort of more visible as skin tones. The rest are more primary colors. Now, even when I first announced this box and people saw the lineup of colors, there were a couple of people mentioning that the skin tones cater for light skinned people and not dark skinned people. Well, just you wait. This is one of my favorite things about the mix of colors that I have, because I haven't left anything behind, and when it comes to making sure you can get as much bang for your buck, I really did pick a variety of colors that will allow you to do as much as possible. So I'm going to start off by doing a little bit of a mix just for a simple light skin demonstration here. We've got our two skin tones that I'm just going to blend with each other. If I wanted to make it lighter, I could just do less of the darker color and even mix in some of the colorless blender to weaken it. You get the idea. But how do you do to a darker or a more brown skin tone? Well, this is where it gets a little bit magic, and it's quite fun. But trust me, it's going to be confusing as hell until it's finished. So bear with me. Step 1, take your mid-gray. This is the ice gray number 4. This is the flat base tone. By putting this down first, it means that anything you put down on top of it is going to be a little bit darker, but it's also going to be a little bit less saturated. So to help combat that, next comes green. I told you this was going to get weird. Doing the same sort of thing, I'm just going around the edges. I don't want to add too much saturation because it's going to be pretty subtle, but it's just to add that sort of natural tone in the skin tone. Next, I'm going to go with my orange. When I mix these two together, they create a little bit of a brown. I'm going to let the orange bleed over the edges a little bit, and then I'm going to go back to my mid skin tone and go over the whole thing. And this is where I get pretty aggressive with my mixing. And as I was saying, sometimes you just blend and blend and blend. This is one of those situations where you do a lot of that. And if you find anything that isn't looking right, you can literally just go back in with another color and tweak it. So let's say we're looking a little too orange there. I might go in with a touch of the green, go back to that skin tone and blend it while it's wet. And remember, you have more gray tones to work with than just these. So if you actually want to go darker, you can go with that darker gray tone right around the edges there and do the same thing. Green, orange, and mid skin tone. Blend, 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 blend. Now, of course, it takes a little bit more work than if I just had 6 or 7 skin tones. But first of all, when it comes to the JAZZA'S Jazzy art box specifically that I put this set of 12 together for, I wanted to keep the cost of the box down, and that meant doing a 12 pack, and I wanted to make sure that 12 pack could do as much as possible. But then when it comes to collecting markers as well, it's really worth learning how to do this stuff because, I mean, look at that. There isn't a single brown marker in this pack of 12, but that is a beautiful brown gradient from a mid brown to a darker brown on the corners there. Corners of the circle. Well done, Jazzy. So like I said earlier on in the video, I'm going to put all of this into practice now. And I think this pretty clearly demonstrates you can do a lot of stuff with it. Now it's time to do a lot of stuff with it. So I wanted to pick an example that was A, something cool and fun that I wanted to draw, and B, something that had a lot of tonal and color challenges in it to really show what you can do. Which is why I've settled on Miles Morales from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse for a number of reasons. You can see he's got a turquoise jumper, which I don't have that color. Really nice strong reds and strong colors, a darker skin tone, really dark near black hair, and in general Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse has just really cool lighting and effects like purple or yellow, like really sharp and edgy cool lighting. So I want to do something that uses a bit of that. And so without any further ado, it's time to put it into practice.
For the right, for the rugged, for the rugged, for the rugged. Been a little too nice to y'all. Now I gotta up price on y'all. Snake eyes on dice for y'all. Shoulders on ice for y'all. 8-6 all the hay. I won't get involved today. Got lost in the ball and A's. I'm flipping the balls. I'm flipping the on record, off record. I still count wins when they doubt it. On record, off record. I let them take advantage. I was wildin'. On record, off record deals. Tell them talk to Colin for the quote. On record, off record. I still want to act, not the ghost. For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you. For the record, lab on me going all the way. For the record, ain't trying to make no time to waste. Running through it with the young influence, adolescent presence, I'm succumbing to it. I've been giving yeses when I shouldn't do it. I complete ejected, but the moves elusive, and I'm barely moving, but I'm still gon' boost them. I can't work on winners when I know you're losing, so I work the winners and they throw the deuces. Guess I had to pivot, shooting no bazookas for the facts. Hit cash, fuck a tax, that's a joke. Tell them laugh, Uncle Sam, fuck out the back. Brody plot, but get a whack. Contract, give me the max. I got lab on my back. You ain't that, then it's raps. Whoa, whoa, whoa. For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you. For the record, lab on me going all the way. For the record, 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 for the record.
12 colors, everyone, that's all it takes. And he may have looked at these 12 colors at the start of the video and have thought, there's no way you could get anything even near what you could get done with these Copic sketch markers. And that reasoning then extends to someone thinking, well, if I can't afford all of those expensive markers, then clearly I can't afford to have quality and professional materials to create art with. Well, I have this to put the mic down to show you that those 12 colors are a lot more than meets the eye. That's Transformers, isn't it? Not Spider-Man. More than meets the eye. With great marker power comes great response. That doesn't work with this as well. So that is the result of my 12 marker challenge, you could call it, I guess. And you wouldn't look at this and think that's done with 12 markers. And that's what I love about working with great quality materials, but also in a creative way. Sometimes those constraints can make you more creative than you would be otherwise. In fact, this is the artwork that comes as a print in JAZZA'S Jazzy art box. And this was done with only those 12 markers and these 12 premium Faber-Castell pencils. So with 12 colors of each material, I created this artwork, which I'm so proud of. You wouldn't assume it was created with limitations. And I guess that's my point. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you're interested in JAZZA'S Jazzy art box, once again, the link to the box is in the description and you can go check out the page which has a video, all the details of everything that's in the box. Of course, proceeds from the box go to supporting the channel and Smart Art, who I partnered with to make the box possible. So if you get it, you're helping us out. And of course, you're getting something that's going to last you for years and is 100% premium quality art supplies with my badge of approval on it that I've spent over a year custom tailoring the contents of the box, including these beautiful custom picked 12 markers. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like it if you did and subscribe to Draw with Jazza for more fun with art and creativity. There's a shop down there with digital goodies you can get if you want to support me elsewhere as well. And there's other videos on the channel and a vlog with the behind the scenes that you might be interested in checking out. Otherwise, that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.